Folks, this is the most important election of our time. America itself is on the ballot. The police are on the ballot as radicals push to defund law enforcement while doing nothing to deter the looting and violence tearing apart our nation's cities. The fact is, our safety is on the ballot too, and our way of life. That's why I'm urging you to join an effort sponsored by the Job Creators Network. They're working with the biggest conservative host in America, like me. This election is about one thing: turnout. The left has their get out the vote machine now. We need ours. That's why the single most important thing you can do to save our country is go to keepamericaamerica.com. That's keepamericaamerica.com and become a volunteer in the biggest get out the vote effort in history. You'll be given tasks that can make a difference in November. Do a little, do a lot, but please do your part. Go to keepamericaamerica.com now. That's keepamericaamerica.com.
This election, there's a politician on the ballot who's addicted to Twitter. His radical tweets reveal his dangerous ideas. It's Qasim Rashid, and he's running for Congress. In one tweet, Qasim Rashid alleged that America is to blame for terrorist attacks. In another, Rashid mocked the deaths of Americans killed by extremists. And he raged against rebuilding our military. Rashid called military spending, quote, unnecessary. And now he's trying to get the votes of people who work at Quantico and Dahlgren. Rashid promises on social media that he would be a congressman just like AOC and Bernie Sanders. And Rashid, AOC, and Sanders all back a $32 trillion government takeover of healthcare. It would raise taxes on every working American and take away your private health coverage. Qasim Rashid, if he's too radical on Twitter, he's too radical for Congress.
I'm Rob Whitman, candidate for Congress, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Rob Whitman for Congress.
You're on the John Fredericks Radio Network and the John Fredericks Radio app, and I am your Godzilla of the truth in America. There is 20 days to election. Here's what we need in Virginia. Poll watchers. That's what we need. If you're interested, you get paid. We need poll watchers. Biggest thing that we need. Email Riley.Mahoney@GOP.com. Yesterday I said Gmail. I'm sorry. Got some people saying, hey, there's nobody there. GOP. Riley.Mahoney@GOP.com. Just email Riley. She'll get right back to you. And she's a fabulous person to work with and plug you in. We need poll watchers. Anybody you know want to make money for the day and do the right thing and be sure they don't cheat. The Democrats don't try to steal this. Let's make it authentic. Riley.Mahoney, MAHONEY@GOP.com. You're good to go. John Fredericks Radio Network in Chesapeake today. Tomorrow I'll be in Greenville for the Trump rally in Greenville, North Carolina at East Carolina University, where my son Joseph hopes to go. He still hasn't had an offer from ECU. Talks to them, though, several times a week, so hopefully they're moving closer in that direction. But that's his college of choice, and we'll see how that goes. But these things take time, and maybe the next couple of weeks they'll decide he's the guy for them. So, but that's his first choice. He's also talking to Liberty and UVA, a few other schools, but ECU right now, his first choice. So if they make him an offer, he's going to take it, and he'll be a Pirate. But so far, no offer, so we'll see what happens. But anyway, I'll be in Greenville tomorrow covering the Trump rally. We'll be live for that. That's going to be a lot of fun, and that'll be on AVN, also America Voice News, and we shall see how that goes tomorrow. The president out and about now doing 2 and 3 rallies a day. He's got 2 tomorrow, one at 1 o'clock in Greenville, and then he's got one in the afternoon, and I think he's got one in the evening. He might have 3 tomorrow for all I know. They keep adding them. So a lot of energy. He's getting out there. Poll numbers, if you look at the national polls, forget it. They're all ridiculous. You look at our internal state numbers. We're ahead in Florida. We're ahead in Ohio. We're ahead in Texas. We're going to win that. We're going to win Georgia. We've now moved even. These are our polls. Even in Arizona, where even in Pennsylvania. Look, when we're even, we know there's an undervote there. So Pennsylvania looking good for us. We're going to win North Carolina. We're going to win Florida. That's our spinal cord. The spinal cord of this campaign, the spine, is Florida, North Carolina. That's the 2 that we absolutely have to win. Those are looking very good for us. Arizona looking better today than it has been in months. We're going to win Arizona. The Republicans have a pretty significant lead in party voters. There's more registered Republicans in Arizona than Democrats, so we just have to bring those home. So we feel really, really good about that. That's moving in our direction. So basically, if the president wins Florida, North Carolina, holds Texas and Georgia, which he is, wins Ohio, which we're now up big, we're going to win that, and wins Pennsylvania, which is tied, game over. We're also going to win Bangor, Maine, that one district there, game over. I mean, basically, what the Democrats have to do, if we win the states that I mentioned, is they have to run the table on the four Midwestern states. They have to win. Biden has to win Wisconsin, which we're close, Michigan, which we're closing, Minnesota, which is tied, and Pennsylvania, which is tied. He has to win those all in order to get over 270. It's just not going to happen. One of those states we're going to pick off. All of them are close. In fact, in the Senate race in Michigan, oddly enough, Gary Peters has not put the Republican challenger away. He's the incumbent. Nobody's heard of him. He's in a virtual statistical dead heat with John James there. And so Peters might lose. That's a seat that might flip to Republicans. So a lot of things at play, a lot of things happening. 888-480-JOHN. 888-480-5646. Hey, this segment is brought to you by our good friends at Rosie's Gaming and rosiesgaming.com. You know, I love Rosie's Gaming because I like to win money. Do you like to win money? I like cash money. I like playing the machines, and I like going out with a pocket full of dollar bills, $100 bills, $50 bills. I like to win money and have fun, too. Tired of sitting in the house. That's why I want to get a few minutes. I go over to Rosie's. There's 4 locations: Hampton, Vinton by Roanoke, Midlothian Turnpike in Richmond, right by our studio, and then also, of course, at Colonial Downs in New Kent. Now, that's my favorite, I got to admit. That's always been my favorite because I'm very partial to New Kent and Rosie's there and Colonial Downs. But I tell you what, the reason I love to go is I love to play the penny slots because they got jackpots starting at $100,000. Now, there's no slots gaming in America that has penny slots at $100,000. You can't get it in Las Vegas. You can't get it in Reno. You can't get it at the Indian casinos. You can't get it at Atlantic City. You can only get it at Rosie's. Go to rosiesgamingemporium.com. Let me give you some of the winners. Patricia and Michael G, 152 large. Lawrence H, 20,000. Sharon U, 19,000. Tariq J, 15,000. Kimberly A, 12,000. This is just last week. Eusebio, 12 large. Connie, 12,000. Candace, 11,000. Jackie and Yvette, Jackie P, 8,000. Jackie L, 7,500. Cash money, folks. Cash money. Go to rosiesgaming.com. That's rosiesgaming.com. And have some fun, too. Get out of the house. Have some fun. Let's get to a couple of clips here. Stan in Virginia Beach says, for ACB, you need to play These Are a Few of My Favorite Things from The Sound of Music. I don't think so, but thanks for the offer. Darren in Richmond says, what about the Bishop? Bishop who? I don't know who you're talking about there. Randy in Hanover says, Harris's first 20 minutes was an info commercial for Biden. Then what about other senators? Ask her if she was sexually assaulted any more. I don't really know. I kind of missed that. Let's get to a couple of clips here, if I may. Well, we have just a second. And let's get to Senator Kennedy. We're going to go to cut one. This is Senator Kennedy in Louisiana, who's always great for a laugh. He's got a great sense of humor. Here's Senator Kennedy saying that Kamala Harris just called you a liar. Are you a liar, Judge Barrett? Senator Kennedy, cut one.
You're not lying.
I'm not lying. I took that oath before I began as a judge on the 7th Circuit, and I have not violated that oath, and I would take it again, and oaths are serious to me.
Well, now, Senator Harris just called you a liar. She said that if you take that oath, you'll be lying, that you've already made up your mind on how you're going to vote on some cases, particularly dealing with abortion and the Affordable Care Act. Let's just cut to the chase. She said you're a liar. Are you a liar?
I am not a liar, Senator Kennedy.
All right, I want you to tell me again, look me in the eye here in front of God and country. If you take that oath, will you mean it?
I will mean it. If I take that oath, I will mean it.
You swear to God?
I swear to God. And
You'll-
I have sworn at the Seventh Circuit, and I meant it there too.
You'll never break that oath,
I will not break that oath.
no matter what your personal feelings are,
No matter what my personal feelings,
no matter what your religion is.
no matter what my religion is.
So when Senator Harris and her colleagues say you're a liar, they're wrong.
They are.
I mean, is this embarrassing for the United States that we have to go through this? I mean, are these Democrats just not embarrassing? You got Kamala Harris calling Amy Coney Barrett a liar. Here's a person who had her times in moving up the ladder where you might question some of her activities. Let me leave it at that. You have a person who was flip-flopped on any number of issues, calling Amy Coney Barrett a liar. Unbelievable. I mean, it's the Democrats are so sick and twisted. Here's Judge Barrett, and I got to say, I love this woman. I was for her the last time, as you know. Here's Amy Coney Barrett saying, if I'm confirmed, you would not be getting a Justice Scalia. You would be getting a Justice Barrett. I love this answer. Cut 2.
All right, I want to finish this housekeeping because I want to talk about the law. I want to give you a chance to respond to something. Some butthead professor at Boston University says that because you and your husband have 2 children of color, that you're a white colonist. The implication is that you're a racist and that you use your 2 children as props. Do you use your children as props?
Senator Kennedy, it was the risk of people saying things like that, which would be so hurtful to my family, that when I told Senator Graham this morning that my husband and I had to really weigh the costs of this, it was saying deeply offensive and hurtful things that are not only hurtful to me, but are hurtful to my children, who are my children, who we love, and who we brought home and made part of our family. And accusations like that are cruel.
Yeah, they are, aren't they? How low can you go? I didn't want to ask that question when your kids were here. I'm sorry I have to go through that.
Unbelievable. They'll stop at nothing. Power, and they're sick. Power and sick. All right, let's get to the phone lines. Sorry about that. Let's get the phone lines, and let's get to, sorry again. Let's get to Brandon in Richmond. Sorry about that. Brandon, you're live.
Hey, John. We all know that President Trump would win if this was a fair election, but every single day you see these reports of ballots in the trash can, FBI raids from the guy keeping mail in his house, mail thrown in dumpsters. I mean, it's literally every day. So how do we I'm just not sure that there's going to be a way to with all the fraud going on, get through this. Like, I think it's just going to jam up the country, jam up the Supreme Court, jam up everything, and, we're going to have complete and utter chaos through this election. And how does Trump beat that?
I mean, the way you beat it is exactly what we said. First thing we need to do is get poll watchers. If you're interested or can be a poll watcher in Virginia, that's where you live. If you can be a poll watcher in Virginia on Election Day, on game day, email riley.mahoney@gop.com. Riley.mahoney, Mahoney, @gop.com. That's the first thing to do, is be a poll watcher. The second thing is, we know they're going to try to steal it. So the Republicans have an army of lawyers, as the Democrats do, and every one of these mail-in ballots that are not completely authenticated, they're going to be challenged. And the challenges are not going to be like 3 guys get together in a room and they say, okay, let's be fair, this one's good, this one's out. They're all going to there's a bunch of them going to get challenged. Nobody's going to rule. Whatever the Election Commission rules is going to get challenged in a court, and it's going to go up the court chain to the Supreme Court, and it's not going to be decided for weeks and weeks. That is the scenario that Bannon has laid out. That is exactly what is going to happen. Trump is going to roll up an enormous lead on election night. That's why, all right, to give you an example, Brandon, normally, like in 2016, I did my election night coverage at Trump Tower, right? Because it was all about that. And we knew that night, one way or the other, there'd be an outcome. This year, I'm not doing that. This year, the John Fredericks Show is doing our election night coverage from the Westin Hotel, a town center in Virginia Beach at Scott Taylor headquarters. And the reason we're doing that is we're going to have a better chance reporting on results and finalization in the local races than in the national race. There'll be no winner declared. I mean, the Democrats have already said that, Brandon. There'll be no winner declared for days and days and days, so they can figure out how to steal it. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But Trump is going to roll up enormous leads because our voters are coming out on Election Day and early voting. They're not mailing in the ballots. And the mail-in ballots all can't be counted before November 3rd or on November 3rd. So, like in Virginia, if you go to the Virginia Star, Brandon, there's a story up there today that we did. Just go to thevirginiastar.com, thevirginiastar.com. 1 million people in Virginia have already voted by mail. 1 million people. I mean, there's only going to be 4 million voters. 1 million people have already voted by mail. That you can't count them by November 3rd, right? And then they're going to be challenged. Somebody didn't sign it, or a signature doesn't match. And what the Republicans have to do is every one of these ballots that come in the mail, they've got to be verified and authenticated. And if they can't be authenticated, they got to be challenged. Sign in the wrong place, don't sign, signatures don't match, address doesn't match. They become provisional ballots, they're put in the box, and then they go to judges. That is going to be how we decide who wins. But yeah, they're going to try to steal it. Brandon, no question.
Help us all if they succeed. You know.
Yep. All right, man. Thank you. But look, be a poll watcher. You know, if you're concerned about the Democrats stealing the election, which they plan to do. I mean, they have a whole game plan for this. That's why. Remember, I was telling you in April that the reason they were stoking fear about the coronavirus and shutting everything down and scaring people was for one thing: mail-in ballots. Because they know they have a machine in place to manipulate it. Drop boxes and harvesting, they got this down to a science. Ballots are going to be coming in from every which way. But it's not going to be like Arizona where they get slipped in and certified and McSally loses. This is going to be different because now the Republicans are onto them. And they got lawyers, we got lawyers. They got challenges, we got challenges. And this, I'm telling you, this election is not going to be decided until it gets to the Supreme Court, and it's going to be decided on like January 19th. It's going to go on for days. It's election season. But the first line of defense is poll watchers. So if you can afford to take that day and make $40 instead of whatever you normally make and take the day off, or get your services or get your friends together and be a poll watcher, that's right now the best thing that you can do to ensure we have an honest election. And if you're interested in Virginia, Riley.Mahoney@GOP.com. Riley.Mahoney@GOP. Email her. Say, hey, I want to help. Riley will get right on it. She'll plug you in. All right, let's get to cut 9. Here's Senator Hirano from Hawaii. This is unbelievable. Asking Amy Barrett if she sexually assaulted anybody. These people are sick. They're just sick. How do you get up every day with this level of hatred in your heart? Why live? Why do you even bother to live? What kind of a life is this? Just get up every day and hate? It's sad, really. It's sick and it's sad. Did you ever sexually assault anybody? She's got 8 kids. Or 7, I'm sorry. 7 kids. All right, cut 9. Here it goes.
To ensure the fitness of nominees for a lifetime appointment to the federal bench or to any of the other positions for any of the committees on which they appear, I ask each nominee these two questions, and I will ask them of you. Since you became a legal adult, have you ever made unwanted requests for sexual favors or committed any verbal or physical harassment or assault of a sexual nature?
No, Senator Hirono.
Have you ever faced discipline or entered into a settlement related to this kind of conduct?
No, Senator.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I don't really even know how to even frame that. Let's get to, how much time do I have here? I got about a minute and a half. Let's get to, this is perfect. Let's get to cut 6. Here's Judge Barrett, cut 6, Kiara. Judge Barrett responding to hateful personal attacks, saying they are my children who we love. Cut 6.
All right, I want to finish this housekeeping because I want to talk about the law. I want to give you a chance to respond to something. Some butthead professor at Boston University says that because you and your husband have 2 children of color, that you're a white colonist. The implication is that you're a racist and that you use your 2 children as props. Do you use your children as props?
Senator Kennedy, it was the risk of people saying things like that, which would be so hurtful to my family, that when I told Senator Graham this morning that my husband and I had to really weigh the costs of this, it was saying deeply offensive and hurtful things that are not only hurtful to me, but are hurtful to my children, who are my children, who we love, and who we brought home and made part of our family. And accusations like that are cruel.
John Fredericks Radio Network. This is painful stuff, folks, but this is who the Democrats are now. Attack your family, attack everything. To take you down. Hate and power. It's a very, very diabolical combination. And that's really where the Democrats are now. Hate and power. The exacta of toxic behavior. We'll be right back. Scott Taylor is next. Talk about hate. You see the ads that Elaine Lauria are running against Scott Taylor? All lies. Scott Taylor's next.
Good business is measured many ways. Quality, cost-effective, reliable, that's key. But there's more. Hi, I'm Mike Watson, founder of CatLab, accredited calibration laboratories. At CatLab, we believe a good business is also a good corporate citizen. It's why we support the communities where we work. For over 30 years, CatLab has backed service organizations across Virginia and North Carolina. We champion workforce education to prepare students for great careers and sponsor scholarships so more can afford it. As a member of North Carolina's Biotech Center and Virginia Manufacturers Association, we help solve industry barriers to keep our economy strong. You'll even find us at state capitals, promoting a stronger business climate so new jobs are here for our next generation. CatLab calibrates test and measurement equipment for process control professionals, making products better, our nation safer, and the environment cleaner. That's our job. It's appreciation for our customers and communities that drives us to do much more. If you want a calibration partner that shares your values, check us out at catlab.net.
There's a news star in Virginia, thevirginiastar.com. Finally, there's a newspaper in Virginia that delivers the unfiltered truth on politics and information you need to know.
I love it. It's about time.
Man, it's great. I read it every morning.
Thevirginiastar.com. Unbiased. No slant, just facts. Thevirginiastar.com. It's not the mainstream media, it's the truth stream media. So if you're tired of fake news, get real news now. Thevirginiastar.com.
A baby born alive after an abortion allowed to die. Abortions after unborn babies can feel pain. Abortions up until the moment of birth. This is part of the extreme agenda of pro-abortion politicians, but you can fight back. Send a message to pro-abortion politicians. Sign the pro-life pledge at vshl.org and vote in the November 3rd election. Don't let pro-abortion politicians enact their deadly agenda. Sign the pro-life pledge at vshl.org.
Attention business owners, we know cash is tight. The Barter Authority has been in business for over 40 years helping companies save cash and increase sales. IRS approved, trade transactions are treated like cash and reported on a 1099-B. Find out if professional bartering is right for your company. Call them today at 757-622-4242 or visit them at thebarterauthority.com. That's 757-622-4242. Purchase Bill Meacham's book, SmarterCompaniesBarter.com.
Feel the hot new reels and cool cash at Rosie's Gaming Emporium. Are you ready for added excitement, more ways to win, and bigger payouts? Then stop into your favorite Rosie's and check out our all-new machines where jackpot pools start at $100,000. Don't miss the next level of jackpots, new ways to win, and big-time payouts. Only at Rosie's Gaming Emporium.
Stop by and win today or click rosiesgaming.com for more info. rosiesgaming.com.
This is AP News Minute. Supreme Court nominee Amy Coney Barrett's been a long day battling tough questions at her Senate confirmation hearing. She was firm in her conservative convictions, but light on specifics as senators tried to pin her down on abortion, healthcare, and the election. Two of the world's most famous athletes have announced they've tested positive for COVID-19. Portuguese soccer star Cristiano Ronaldo and golf's Dustin Johnson both announced they have tested positive for the virus. Fearful of a second wave, governments across Europe are ratcheting up restrictions in an effort to contain the coronavirus. The continent recorded its highest weekly number of new confirmed infections since the start of the pandemic, and a rare fossilized skeleton of an Allosaurus, ancestor of the T-Rex, was bought at auction in Paris for almost $3 million. The 150-year-old remains were found in Wyoming in 2016. David Martin, Associated Press, with AP News Minute.
Is your heating and cooling system a clunker? James Rivera will give you cash for your old clunker and send it where it belongs, the dump. Buy a new system for your home and get up to a $4,000 trade-in, special financing, and an indoor air quality bundle free. Improve your comfort and health with a new system. Call James Rivera and get cash for your clunker. Cash for clunkers.
Bob's Gun Shop in Norfolk is one of the largest Smith & Wesson dealers in Virginia and the Commonwealth's only Sig Sauer elite dealer. Bob's Gun Shop features a state-of-the-art indoor shooting range with convenient concealed carry classes on weeknights or Saturdays for only $49. Only Bob's Gun Shop has 3 floors of firearms and accessories, plus all sizes of safes, from single handgun to large vaults. And Bob's Gun Shop is a proud defender of the Second Amendment. 746 Granby Street in Norfolk, or click bobsnorfolk.com. That's bobsnorfolk.com.
You're on the John Fredericks Radio Network and the John Fredericks Radio app. I am your Godzilla of the truth in America, your oracle of the deplorables. Thanks for being with us. Great to have you, as always, on the John Fredericks Radio Network. Don't forget, download my free app. If you have an iPhone or any Apple device, just put in the John Fredericks Show right in the App Store. It comes right up. Download it. It's free. It's cool. It's good to go. Best sound. If you have an Android or a PC, you can download it by going to Google Play, putting in the same thing, the John Fredericks Show, and go to the Virginia Star, thevirginiastar.com. You got to put in the word the, go to the Virginia Star. I tell you what, it's exceeding all of our expectations. I got a great young staff. We're training them. They're doing great. Hard workers. Support them. Read it. You're going to love it. Real news for real people, the Virginia Star. Check that out every day. Scott Taylor is going to be coming up momentarily here on the John Fredericks Radio Network. This segment brought to you by our great friends at Job Creators Network. You know, the most important election of our time is 20 days away. America itself is on the ballot. The police are on the ballot as radicals push to defund law enforcement while doing nothing to stop the looting and the violence tearing apart our nation's cities like Richmond. The fact is, our safety is on the ballot. Our way of life is on the ballot on November 3rd. That's why I'm urging you to join an effort sponsored by the Job Creators Network. This election is about one thing: turnout, 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 turnout. The left, well, they have their get out the vote machine. You know what they are doing? Well, we need ours too. That's why the single most important thing you can do to save our country is to go to keepamericaamerica.com. That's keepamericaamerica.com and become a volunteer in the biggest get out the vote effort in conservative history. Now, you'll be given tasks that you're comfortable with. You can make a difference in November. You can do a little, you can do a lot, you can do just a little itty bit, or you can do some, but do something. Do your part. Right now, go to keepamericaamerica.com. That's keepamerica.com, and you're good to go. And they really need your help, and so do we. Also, we need poll watchers. If you're listening right now and you are available on November 3rd, even if you got to take the day off, you'll get paid, I think it's $40. We need poll watchers so they don't steal it right out from under you. Okay? Right out from under you. Riley.mahoney@gop.com. Riley.mahoney@gop.com. Email Riley. She'll get right out. We need poll watchers as well. Now, I've got Scott Taylor is going to be with us momentarily, but first, let's get to cut 4 yesterday. Here's Trey Gowdy talking about what the real agenda is for the Democrats on Amy Coney Barrett. Cut 4.
There are 1,000 ways to do it, but it's not the Supreme Court's job to find one of those ways.
Okay, we have at least 4 more Democratic senators today, then everybody comes back for another bit of a shorter round tomorrow. Kamala Harris is one of the 4 still remaining. We believe she'll appear virtual as she did yesterday. What is your sense of the tone or the attitude on behalf of Democratic senators today? I noted earlier some of them seem to be a bit tender. Not commanding and perhaps not demanding. Is there a sense that you're talking to the American people at the same time, thinking about suburban housewives all over America, looking at this woman, the mother of 7 children, you want to be a little more sensitive, let's say, 21 days away from an election? Have you given that some thought, sir?
Yeah, I've never thought this was about Judge Barrett. I think it's about the U.S. Senate. You've got the chairman of the committee, Tom Tillis, Joni Ernst, all in very tough re-elects. They're not going to stop her from being on the bench. I think their real goal is to keep the lead in the presidential race and retake the Senate, and that's why you're seeing the questioning that you are of her. It's really about control of the Senate. They're not going to stop her nomination.
Trey Gowdy, thank you for your time. Appreciate you being with us today.
Yes,
I want to
sir.
get back to
Absolutely nailed it 100%. Joining us now, Scott Taylor. Scott running for Congress, 2nd District of Virginia. I feel very good about this race against Elaine Lurie. He's under attack. Lurie's negatives are so high she's got to run all these phony negative ads accusing Taylor of all kinds of things. Some of the ads are despicable, but I think they're backfiring because they turn me off, and like she hasn't done crap, and nobody sees her. She doesn't even campaign, and Taylor's going to beat her. But look, negative ads work to a certain extent, but when they're lies and it's over the top, they backfire, and I think that's what's going to start to happen right now in the 2nd District. Also, I want to thank Scott Taylor for allowing us to do our award-winning, worldwide watched election night show. That is going to be from the Westin Hotel at the Town Center in Virginia Beach, starting at 6 p.m. on November 3rd. We're going to be covering all of the Virginia races, plus we're going to be covering, obviously, the national race. We don't expect the winner to be declared, so we're going to the Westin, and Scott was very gracious in accommodating us and getting us all set up. And as you know, we like to go where we think the winners are, so we think the best shot for a takeover is going to be Taylor in the 2nd. I also think Nick Freitas is going to win the 7th. But we're going to Taylor's in the Westin. Scott, great to have you with us, and thanks for accommodating us on election night. We're going to have a monster audience that night. Thank you.
Of course, John. It's great to be with you and your listeners, and we would want you no other place on election night than at the Westin in Virginia Beach.
Oh, great answer. I love that. We're also going to go live on video. We're going to be testing that out. That'll make Saxman happy because Saxman likes to get it. He thinks he's like some kind of an electric figure. So he always got to do. First thing he asked me, are we doing video live? I'm like, what is this thing with your video? No, we got to do video for Saxman. So we're going to be able to accommodate him with that, and whatever it takes. Scott, these ads that Lurie are running are really pissing me off because they're not true. They keep saying you've been accused of wrongdoing, and you're still under investigation. That's all false. They already said you were not a target. Can you clarify these fake ads for us?
Yeah, well, there's a bunch of them. Obviously, they say I hate puppies and ice cream and babies and all kinds of stuff. It's insane. Let me preface this by saying if you were a private person, a private citizen, not a public figure like me, and Elaine Lurie did an ad like that, you'd be making millions of dollars off suing her. But obviously, as a public figure, the burden's a lot higher, and they can essentially say almost what they want. Elaine Lurie has known for and so has Democrats, probably some of them listening today, they've known for over 2 years that I was not involved, had no knowledge of any wrongdoing, not the subject of any investigation. They know that, but that's all they have. Elaine Luria, there's all kinds of ads. That's just one. That's just one ad, as you said. And we saw this in the polling data that Elaine Luria is not well liked. She has a low approval rating. She tried going up in the air in June to bump up her positives and make her look like she was, some superwoman or something, and it didn't work. It didn't work at all. So we see in the data that her only path to victory is to disqualify me, which is why these ads have been so nasty, and it's been the nastiest race in Virginia. And she's going to continue to do that because that's her only path to victory. But it's, as you said, there's diminishing returns after a while. She certainly did bump up my negatives, but she still has higher negatives. People still like her less. So it's not working for her.
The bottom line is, have you been indicted for anything?
I haven't even been accused of wrongdoing. So let's look at Senator Louise Lucas, who has been charged with 2 felonies, and there's a video out there of her doing it, charged with 2 felonies. Now, of course, under American law, she's still innocent until proven guilty, right? Period. Mm-hmm. I'm not even accused of any wrongdoing at all. At all. So it's not even the same thing. And Elaine Luria has done just what she did with the president, where she disgracefully used her uniform to justify an empty impeachment without seeing any evidence. She tried and convicted him right then, months before anything. It's the same. It's essentially the same thing. There's a pattern there.
Well, you've done nothing wrong. You're not even a target of the investigation. The special counsel said you are not even being questioned. You are not a target of the investigation. So they're still running ads making believe you've done something wrong. That's number one. Number two, basically what they're doing is this. Scott Taylor, are you still beating your wife? And your answer is, well, I'm sorry, I'm single. I don't have a wife. Yes, but if you did have a wife, you'd beat her, right? I mean, that's basically this line of ads. And it's disgusting to me what they're doing to you, but it's going to backfire because what is her record? Look, I'm not a fan of Luria's, Congressman Luria, but to be honest, what has she done? She impeached the president. She voted with AOC. She voted with Pelosi. She said she wasn't going to do that. Give me one accomplishment this woman has done.
Her biggest thing, what she basically, it's not an accomplishment at all. She tries to embellish what she's done, and she's like, for example, Blue Water veterans, getting them the help that they need, ones that were exposed to Agent Orange that weren't getting benefits. Well, that's been people have been working on that for years. I sent a letter on that in 2017, but she tries to claim credit as though she did it. It's not obviously her, and her, she doesn't have any accomplishments, and she's been absent, she's been unaccountable in this district, and she's certainly been ineffective. And people haven't seen her in 2 years, except for now on their YouTube and they listen to her on the radio and the TV. She's everywhere now. The first time I saw her, John, on this whole campaign was 2 nights ago, and I don't think she knew I was going to be there. It was at a civic league in Pembroke, but we haven't seen her anywhere. She's nowhere. Everything, any place that she goes at all is completely controlled, and it's a few select people. And that's it. This was the first time I've seen her. And we do have a couple debates coming up next week. Finally, it took us 2 months to pressure her and to gain pressure from the community to say, hey, look, you're not entitled to win in an election. You're a representative. You're the same as everybody else. We're just sending you there to represent us in our place. So it took us 2 months to get her to agree to debates, and then she pushed them as far as possible to the end, as close to election as possible. As you know, there's already been like 3 Senate debates.
That's because a million people in Virginia has already voted. She didn't want to expose herself. Now, you've got one debate coming up on October 22nd. That's by the Hampton Roads Chamber, I believe, a luncheon. That is at...
We have one other one on the 20th at 7 p.m. WTKR is going to be broadcasting it. No, there will be no one there. And then, of course, as you said, the 22nd at 12 by the chamber. Well, she wouldn't talk to the chamber for 2 months. They told me, like she wouldn't respond to them for like 2 months, and until we pressured her to do so.
So on the 20th, WTKR TV, they're running a debate between yourself and Elaine Luria, but there's nobody there, right? That's like a virtual thing?
Just broadcast at 7 p.m.
All right, at 7 p.m. We will cover that obviously on TV because you can't go because of what they're doing with COVID. But then the one that I am going to attend, Ann and I will be at the debate on the 22nd at the Chamber, which is a luncheon debate, I think somewhere in Virginia Beach. So we'll look forward to that one, and I'll get somebody to cover that. Thanks for reminding me. I'll get somebody down there now on the John Fredericks Radio Network and the Virginia Star. Go to thevirginiastar.com for great coverage on that. Scott, let's talk about the key issues for Scott Taylor now. When people are evaluating what to do in the 2nd District, what are the 2 or 3 key differences in policy, things that you're going to do that Elaine is on the opposite end? Give me the top 2 or 3 issues here.
Number one, effectiveness on appropriations committee. Virginia, of course, 47% of our economy has to do with direct federal spending. You got to have a seat at that table. I will be there with seniority going back there. That will enable me to get things like the Veterans Hospital that needs to be built on the south side with the fastest growing veteran population in the nation, female veteran population nation. So that's one of the things. The second thing is certainly, you mentioned it a little earlier, law enforcement. I'm endorsed 90% of the Fraternal Order of Police. The members voted for me. That's more than any candidate in this cycle at all, because they know that I believe in law and order. I believe that if you don't have the rule of law, then you don't get equality and justice, and I've seen it firsthand in countries like Yemen. So that's another piece of it. Taxes is also a huge one, right? They want to repeal the tax cuts that I voted for. President signed into law, which is about average $1,400 per household. A family of 4 in our district. She wants to repeal that and then put the Biden tax plan in place. That would essentially increase the taxes of everyone. No one's escaping it, including corporations who have been hit hard in this this pandemic. So those are a few things that are like very clear differences. And then Second Amendment. There's protecting the unborn. There's a tremendous amount of difference in who we are as people, ideologically speaking, and how we'll vote.
Scott Taylor with us. Scott Taylor running for Congress, 2nd District in Virginia. That'll be decided November 3rd. He's up against incumbent one-term Congresswoman Elaine Loria. She defeated Taylor in 2018. She's running a lot of negative ads. You know what her negative ads remind me of, really, is the end of your primary campaign in 2016. I guess it was like May or June of 2016. Where Randy Forbes was running one negative ad after the other, just filling up the airwaves with it because he had all that money to spend. And I thought when he went on TV, the race was relatively close, maybe 5. You ended up beating him by like 12. I mean, you clobbered him. And I really think they backfired. I thought they were so negative and so bad, and there were so many of them, and they spent so much money on it that people just tuned them out. And I think you can get to the point of no return and they backfire. I really think that's happening here. Tell us about your ground game.
Our ground game is second to none. And John, you've known me for years. I'm never outworked, period. We've been, number one, on social media, of course, I have about 12 times the reach as her. And we just did a social media an analyst. It's about 4 times how, organically our reach than hers. We've been knocking doors for months now. I personally been knocking doors. I didn't do it in the primary, but I did it starting a couple months ago, and it's been fantastic. We've hit tons and tons of doors. We're, of course, doing all the other stuff like calls and mailers. When we're out everywhere we were doing events. We put a pause when the president tested positive, but we'll be doing those again. I got an event tonight, actually, in Williamsburg. So we're just like I always do. I work my butt off. I get in front of people. I stand up on a chair. I answer questions for an hour or more, whatever they want to do, whatever questions they want to ask, I answer anyone. So we're running circles around them on the ground game. There's no question about that.
Well, look, nobody's going to outwork you, Scott Taylor. I know that much about your campaign, but we need a victory in the 2nd District. I think Trump is going to get reelected. If we can flip the 2nd and the 7th, it's going to send a huge message, and perhaps even make a difference in the Republicans taking back the House. I know nobody's talking about that, but there's a lot of races right now that Republicans are running very close to Democrats in the Trump districts that they won across the country. We look at these numbers every day, and it wouldn't be a shocker to me if the Republicans actually took the House back, Scott, because a lot of these races are within 3 the margin of error. The Democrats have the lead, but they're not known in the district. Trump's going to carry it, and it's really tough. It's like in your district, Trump's going to carry the second, no question. So then somebody would have to say, okay, I'm going to vote for Trump for president to reelect him, and then I'm going to go down here and vote for Elaine Luria, who voted to impeach the guy that I'm voting for. How does that make sense?
You're not going to get the Luria Trump voters are going to be negligible at best. There's not going to be hardly any of them. There will be some Biden Taylor votes. The last cycle, 2018, there were 16,000 people who voted for Tim Kaine and me. So we'll get crossover. I just don't think she's going to get crossover. The president, like you said, I believe is going to win this district again. He won by 4 last time. And obviously, if he wins it, that puts me in a very, very strong position because we'll get some crossover as well.
Scott, Amy Coney Barrett, I know you've watched some of the hearings. First reaction?
Brilliant. She's brilliant. She's super smart. She was just fantastic. Every time I saw her, number one, I saw ridiculous questions like like the senator from Hawaii asking her if she's ever committed sexual assault, like just crazy stuff.
Unbelievable.
But I thought that she was poised. I thought she was brilliant. Everything that she was, she wasn't reading off of anything like the senators themselves were. I mean, I just thought she was fantastic. And I'm looking forward to her being on the Supreme Court.
John Fredericks Radio Network. I think she's going to be a fabulous judge, just looking at the grace that she has and how she's handled some of these ridiculous questions, as you just said, is going to be very, very interesting. Give us your let me get a text question in here. Stan in Virginia Beach says, hey, I want to vote for Scott, but if he wins, can you ask Scott, what are your plans to be available for constituents in local offices? I've called Elaine's campaign offices. Well, you don't call the campaign offices, but I know what he means. I've called her offices many times. She's never available for anything. I haven't gotten any help with any of the issues I need.
Well, I feel that upsets me. It really upsets me that he hasn't gotten help. It's something that we prided ourselves on. Elaine Luria's constituent services, and for your listeners out there, that's navigating the government to the VA or Social Security or Medicare or the IRS. You've been beating your head against the wall. You've been making phone calls. You haven't got anything done. You go to your congressional representative to help you, and they're supposed to do it. Elaine Luria has the worst constituent services in Virginia, possibly the country. I mean, they're really bad. It means that hundreds of folks, if not thousands, just like your listener, is not getting help that they need. And it really, really upsets me. We were night and day difference. She was like a fraction of the output that we were able to help people. We did a good job there. We'll always be accessible. It's something that we pride ourselves in, helping people. That is the bread and butter of representation. And in terms of me being around, I'm always out and about in the community, and that won't change if I'm sent back to Washington.
Scott Taylor, I want to thank you for being with us. People want more information or want to volunteer for your campaign. I know you're very active. Where do they go, Scott Taylor? ScottTaylor2020.com, ScottTaylor2020.com. This is not about Scott Taylor. It's about all of us. We got to flip this district, flip Virginia, reelect the president. And, I know that there are a lot of people out there who've done a lot of things to help out, but you need to do more. Let's get it done. Hey, we only got 20 days, right? When the 20 days is going to come and go. So you got 20 days to get involved. I mean, I tell you what, I'm going to Greenville right after my show today to help the president with his rally there. I'm going to put it on the air. I mean, you got to get involved. You got to do whatever you can do because there's only 20 days, and then the window's gone. You don't want to look back and leave anything on the field and said, you know what, Scott won, but we lost Virginia by maybe a point, 2%. Maybe if I did this, called these people, got involved, maybe that would have made a difference. And you also we need poll watchers. Email Riley.Mahoney@GOP.com. Riley.Mahoney, R-I-L-E-Y, Mahoney@GOP.com. Riley's our deputy for the Trump campaign. She's a super lady. She does a fantastic job. She'll get right back to you. Riley.Mahoney@GOP.com. Email her there. Scott Taylor, thank you for being with us.
John, always a pleasure, brother.
And Scott, look, thanks for having us at the West End. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you. All right, Ben Klein is next. Keep it right here.